Hi everybody, today I'd like to show you how to wrap text around an image. So as you can see in my blog post here, I've got my image and then I've got my text wrapping around the side of that image. Here's another example, same thing. I got image, text wrapping around the image, and then I've got some good white space in here too. You can kind of see the white space that really sets the image apart from the text. So let's come over to our blog post, and we're in the edit mode. And the very first thing you always want to do before you start messing with your pictures or throwing your pictures in there is you want to get the text completely written out. And I have that here. So now that I've got the text completely written out, what I want to do is I want to start with my cursor in the position of where I want the top of my photo to appear. So in this case, the top of my photo is kind of up here in line with the first line of text that I have in my post. Same thing here, it's kind of aligned with this top piece of text. So that means I'm going to start with my cursor, and you can see my cursor right here on that very top line of text. Then I'm going to come over here, I'm going to say insert or edit image. I'm going to pick the image that I want to use, and so if I was going to add a new image, I'd have to come up here and hit upload file and then add that new image up. But let's come down here and say we want to use this one. This is one of my favorite images of all time. When I get an image in this portion right here, in order to get that good white space around the image, what you want to do is come over here to this advanced tab, and I'm going to put some vertical and horizontal space in it. So I'm going to do 20 just to start out. And what that's going to do is essentially going to give me 20 pixels of white space completely around the image. I could come back here. My dimensions, I know that's a little big because I know the width of my blog is about 700 pixels. So this photo being 600 pixels wide is going to be way too large. Like I'm essentially going to have a little line of text down the left and then a huge image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull back the size of this image a little bit. Let's put it at 350, and I'll go ahead and hit tab, and that will resize the second dimension. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit OK. Now, when it first drops in here, as we can see, it's clearly not in the position we wanted. It doesn't have text wrapped around it on either side. It's kind of floating out there. But we can also see that this image is highlighted. It's in the blue, or it's got the boxes around the corners, kind of depending on what your browser is. This might look just a tad bit different for you. But if I come down here and put my cursor down here, I can see the image is not the active portion of the screen anymore. But when I come back and click on the image, it becomes the active portion of the screen. And then all I'm going to do to push that image off to the right and wrap the text around the left-hand side is I'm going to come right up here to this little alignment button, and I'm going to hit align right. And when I do that, boom, we're going to see my image float off to the right, and now my text wraps around the left. And what I'll sometimes do, just to give it a nice clean edge right there, is I'll highlight the text that's on the side of the image, and I'll come over here and justify that full. And what that'll do is give me a nice clean edge. We can clearly now see our 20 pixels of white space in here. If I wanted a little bit more white space, I could come up here and edit the image, come back to that advanced tab, change both of these. Let's say I wanted to go with 30. Could change them both to 30. Boom, now we're going to see a larger area of white space here around the image. And then I could control the size of this image in here too. I could drag it out, make it a little bit larger, a little bit more of a focal point on the blog post when somebody lands there. Let's give this thing a title so that we can post it. And then come down here, and I have to select my topic, as always on ActiveRain. But when I go ahead and hit post blog entry here, what we're going to see, we're going to see a nice clean image, boom, with the text wrapped around the left-hand side. Now let's say we wanted to place the image on the right, and we wanted the text to, or the image on the left, and we wanted the text to wrap around the right. Pretty simple. We'd come back in here, and now instead of having this image aligned to the right, guess what we're going to do? That's right, we're going to come over here and say align this image to the left, and that would throw the image off to the left, and it would start the text on the right-hand side of that image. I happen to like my images aligned to the right like this. Just that's what you tend to see in some of the larger, publishing houses out there, the CNNs or the ESPNs for me, or Seattle Times or whatever it is. You'll see your image generally on the right-hand side, and what that's designed to do is to, when somebody lands on the post, it's designed to give them some element of visual to draw them into the post, but the words are kind of that first thing up here in the top left that they'll start to dive into. The image will just be something that gives a nice, clean, professional looking presentation. So there's how you add an image, wrap text around it, and get some nice, clean white space for your blog posts.